Yet that being so, how could she stand up, much less stagger to the edge of a drop-off so sheer she hadn't noticed it because she was so disoriented? She stepped into thin air before she knew she'd mistaken her ground, and she was falling, the wind whistling in her ears. The earth plunged up to meet her. Then she woke, sprawled naked on a guardian altar with only a cloak for covering, and realized she had been dreaming. Sitting, she rubbed her eyes. The place in her dream had been a narrow ledge without even a wall to warn of the drop-off. This place was high and exposed, an expanse of glittering stone untouched by vegetation. She rose cautiously and ventured to the highest point on the bluff. She stood at the prow of a ridgeline. The vista was astonishing. In front lay a lowland sink dropping away to a wide, cultivated plain that extended toward a distant suggestion of water. To her right spread a pulsing green riot of forest, so broad she could not see the end of it. Behind, ragged hills covered with trees formed a barrier formidable, not because of their height, but because they were wild. The wind streamed over the ridge, rumbling in her ears. She knew right where she was, on the southernmost spur of the Leah Hills, an excellent spot for thermals that an eagle and her reeve could spiral on for hours with a view of the higher gap. The vast tangled forest, known as the Wild, lay to the south, and the lowland plain that bordered the arm of the ocean known as the Bay of Istria ran east. She knew right where she was. Oh, way. She was standing on a guardian altar. So far, nothing had happened to her. But that didn't change the unalterable fact that she had broken the boundaries that forbade all people, even reeves, from entering the sacred refuges known as guardian altars. She had broken the boundaries, and now she would be punished according to the law. That being so, what had happened to her lover Joss, who had after all been the one who had persuaded her to follow him up to an altar? There was only one way to find out. Walk to the main compound of Copper Hall, which lay about midway between the cities of Haya and Nesselmara, and find out what was going on. The altar wasn't so difficult to get down from after all. A stair carved into rock switched back down the stone face and into a sinkhole that twisted to become an ordinary musty cave with a narrow mouth hidden by vegetation. She ducked under the trailing vines of hangdog and pushed through a thicket of clawed beauty whose thorns slipped right off the tempting fabric of the cloak. Clusters of orange flowers bobbed around her, which struck her as odd because clawed beauty only bloomed in the early part of the year, during the season of the flower rains, and that was months away. Except for the rest of the afternoon and the following days, it rained in erratic bursts as she trudged through the woodland cover. The trail she followed became slick with puddles and damp leaves. She slopped alongside cultivated lands. Farmers bent double in ankle-deep water transplanted young rice plants. Women dragged hoes through flooded fields, skimming off the weeds and setting them aside for animal fodder. The sun set and rose in its familiar cycle. As she moved toward the coast and low-lying land, the dikes and edges had their own distinctive flora. Pulses, soya, hemp, with ranks of mulberries on the margins. She kept her cloak wrapped tightly around her, but anyway, people were too busy to notice her. Soon enough, paths joined cart tracks that joined wagon roads that met up with the broad North Shore Road. Although the original Copper Hall had been built on the delta, the main compound was now sited about 40 May south of Haya, on one of a series of bluffs overlooking the Bay of Istria, with a lovely vantage and good air currents swirling where land met sea. It had been years since she had walked to the turning for Copper Hall. Once Flirt had chosen her, she had always flown. The paved roadbed was raised on a